Hey guys, I just wanted to address a couple of things about this heavy metals in baby food post that we put up, and for the questions and comments that are coming on social media as well as on the post itself, just address a couple of things. First of all, I want to make it clear that the tested brands are not necessarily the bad guys. I feel like the media has done there's been some weird kind of misleading headlines. The tested brands in some ways are actually the good guys because they're the ones who actually submitted the data that the FDA was asking for. Some brands, among them Sprout, just completely ignored the request and failed to comply in any way and has not released any of their data. So to me, that's even sneakier. We cannot assume that just because something is untested, it is safe, particularly when it really seems to be intentionally not releasing the numbers. And the other big thing is, this is not me trying to be political. You all know where I stand politically anyway. But the Trump administration completely ignored this major whistleblower report from Earth's Best baby food company, which is owned by Hain, which is part of the Hain umbrella. I don't want to make them look like a hero because they continue to sell products that have far exceeded any safety limits in a range of heavy metals. But to their credit, they were the ones that tried to draw attention to this issue, and it was just summarily ignored by the FDA under Trump's presidency. Let's see what happens with Biden. I'm not saying Obama was out solving this, but it does. I mean, the fact remains that this really happened when we were under this particular administration, and so I feel like there's no one else to blame besides the FDA and this administration for this being ignored. The big point I want to make is this problem is not unique to baby food. We are testing baby food because babies are smaller and therefore the effects of heavy metals are much greater for them, and there are real effects. This is not even like some I mean, this is very well established. This is not just me at Give Me the Good Stuff and other people in this space saying, oh, maybe heavy metals aren't bad. There's no debate about this. It's why they test babies for lead at the pediatricians. We know that these heavy metals do real neurological damage. And so the reason that we care most about baby food is because babies are smaller, and they're developing, so it's a higher burden, per ounce of their body, and also their developing brains are really susceptible to the numerous ill effects of heavy metal bioaccumulation. It does not mean that making your own baby food will solve the problem. If a yam, even an organic yam, is contaminated with arsenic, you can mash it yourself or you can buy it in a jar and it's going to be contaminated with arsenic. I've seen a lot of comments of people being like, well, this is why I never bought pouched baby food, or, oh my God, I feel so guilty that I've been buying pouched baby food. Don't beat yourself up. It's in the ingredients. It's in the raw ingredients in most cases. There is a caveat that the brands that are adding like a lot of vitamin, mineral premixes and a few other additives can be extra heavy in heavy metals. None of those would have been endorsed as good stuff on our site anyway, because I just, the fortification can get a little dodgy, and here's one of the reasons. So in that sense, sure, making your own baby food could be a little bit better, but if you're buying a baby food pouch that's just like yams and apples, it's the same as making yams and apples in your kitchen in terms of this issue, the heavy metals. Of course, it's fresher and the nutrients are another issue, and the plastics in the pouch or the processing, the pasteurization, all that. But in terms of this issue, it's not going to make a difference, unfortunately. Or fortunately, if you're a mom like me who relied a lot on jarred and packaged foods, you can feel a little less guilty. The only other thing I would say about that is rice being one of the heaviest offenders. Packaged like teething biscuits and little rusks and crackers and puffs really rely very heavily on rice as an ingredient. That's why so many of them are gluten-free. So in that regard, if you really were feeding your baby all homemade snacks, you probably would end up consuming less rice. So in that regard, yes, packaged foods, just simply because they have so much rice and brown rice syrup as a sweetener, can be problematic. The other really sort of just staggering part about this to me is just the amounts that we're talking here. I wish I could say it were insignificant, but I'll just give one example. Arsenic in drinking water cannot exceed 10 parts per billion. There are not limits on baby food or human food other than rice and apple juice. And for whatever reason, the limits for rice and apple juice are 100 parts per billion. So it makes absolutely no sense to me, other than trying to protect the industry, that we would say drinking water cannot go above 10, but apple juice just has to be under 100. I mean, that's an order of magnitude. That's adding a zero. And also we know that a lot of these companies exceeded even that guideline in other things that they were selling that weren't rice or apple juice. So the whole thing is just completely nonsensical to me and scary. And we know that it's in other juices. Gerber, their grape juice had, I don't quote me on this, but something like 50 parts per billion. So why are we only regulating apple juice? Why not grape juice? Why not sweet potatoes and carrots and lettuce and some of the things that the otherwise very nutritious foods, unfortunately, that happen to be very high in certain heavy metals? So I do want to call out a couple of brands that are good stuff. We are looking for more, but there's something called the Clean Label Project that Dr. Hopkins vetted very carefully and looked at and really read through to make sure that this was looking at not just these heavy metal contaminants, but pesticides and plasticizers and a whole bunch of other things. And if products have this label, you really can trust them. So far, I have seen that Serenity Kids, which makes kind of the paleo-friendly pouches, has this certification. I was never really into feeding my babies like pureed salmon and bone broth and all that kind of stuff, but they also do just make fruit and veggie blends. This one didn't exist when my kids were eating this anyway. But so that's a really good option. They have given us a code, Gimme15, gives you 15% off there. White Leaf Provisions has written me because we carry them in our online store. So of course, as soon as I saw this, I freaked out because we're selling this one. They come in under the FDA limits for all of this. And then it looks like Once Upon a Farm. That's the cold pressed ones. You'll see it in the cold section of grocery stores. It's the Jennifer Garner company. It looks like they have that certification, the Clean Label Project as well. So they are likely going to be good stuff. And we are looking for more. What I really want to find is like the puffs and crackers and stuff like that is under the limits, although I kind of am dubious that anything that contains rice could come in as a safe level of arsenic, because unfortunately rice is just completely contaminated. So for those of you that don't have babies and aren't in the market for this, and that ship has unfortunately sailed, like me, they've eaten all that they're going to eat. We do still, I feel like, eat a lot of rice in this house. My kids love sushi and not like sashimi. They want maki. They like rice and lentils. We eat a lot of Mexican, etc. So a few things that I'm going to do in my household to just kind of like try to cut the risk as much as I can for all of us is no juice. Apple juice, there's no reason they need it. Sometimes I get in the habit of buying these little juice boxes because they like it and it feels like a relatively benign snack. Cut the apple juice, grape juice. I haven't heard anything about citrus being problematic, but just it's a good reason to just drink water and filter your water because there's heavy metals in water. We have tons of content on our site about water filtration. And then I'm going to cut the white rice. You probably saw this. Ironic, but brown rice, otherwise more nutritious, that the hull of the rice absorbs a lot of the arsenic. So there you go. So if you do one thing, just get rid of the brown rice. If you're still going to eat rice, eat white. Basmati from California, I have read, is better. So if you can get organic white basmati from California. Organic doesn't typically solve this problem, but it doesn't hurt. And if you cook it the way you cook pasta, I don't think I'm going to get my husband to do this, to tell you the truth, because he's super picky about how he makes his rice. But I cook it in a ton of water and dump it out. That gets rid of as much as like 80% of the arsenic. So a couple things just with rice, because since that's a huge one. So basically I'm like, I don't think I'm going to even address sweet potatoes. I guess I'll peel sweet potatoes more, but usually we do that anyway. But really I'm going to try to get our rice to be healthier, cut the juice, and cut the rice snacks like Pirates booty, stuff that my kids love. honestly, rice cakes are kind of a staple for us because I always think they're healthier. I'm done. We've got enough rice in our diet in like the whole form, and places you can't replace it like sushi. So I'm cutting out rice snacks in our house. So that's kind of what I'm doing. I want to hear what you guys are doing.